Hello there. How's everyone doing? Today I'm going to be talking about what is an array in JavaScript. So, an array is the most important data structure that we use in JavaScript. That's a very bold statement for myself to say, but if we look at any website that you go through, you will see the features of you will see many features that have been created with an array. I am going to give some examples. So, for example, if you have a list of friends on Facebook, that is used, they use an array to do that. Um, if you have a list of shows on Netflix, also an array. Um, and the list goes on and on. So that's a very common trend that I'm picking up on. The fact that we have a list of things. So let's get into that. How does one actually create an array? So I can, to start with, say let array equal, and then I need to use these brackets, these ones specifically, and that's how I declare my array. Now I'm going to quickly console.log the array and see what I get back by doing that. Sorry, just looking where to press play, and then yeah, we press play here, and then it gives me an empty array. I ignore this value. It gives, so it gives me an empty array. So now I can add values to that array. So let's add the value 1. Cool. We don't have much of a list here. So on top of adding the value 1, let's go for the value 2. Cool. We have a bit more of a list here. We can keep manually adding different values to this array. Interestingly enough, if you do use JavaScript, you're not going to be bound to one specific type. And what I mean by this is that for the next value, I can add a string of 4. I can add a string of 5. I can add a string as not a string. I can add a boolean. I can add another boolean actually, and then if I want to, I can add an empty object, and then I can add an object with a name, and that name is my name. And then when we press play, so when we run this, all of this is valid code within JavaScript. And what makes this language so great and why people love it is the fact that JavaScript is very dynamic and flexible. Other people don't like this aspect of JavaScript. They think this leads to a lot of bad code and bugs, and there's even a whole another language called TypeScript that's out there to address that, but that's not what this lesson is about. So what you need to understand is an array is extremely flexible, and essentially this is what an array is. It's essentially a list. For the most part, we will use an array. So let me comment this out. For the most part, we will use an array to essentially have a list of numbers that we store somewhere. We can also have a list of strings that we store somewhere. We could have a list of strings that we store somewhere, and more importantly, we could have lists of objects. The reason why I say more importantly lists of objects is because from my personal experience, I've had to deal with objects inside an array more often than I've had to deal with any other type of data structure. So what an object inside of an array might look like, if I go back to the Facebook example. Oh, okay, that's cool. So if I go back to the Facebook example, I could have name, it's more. We could, we're just gonna copy this out, keep copying it out, and yeah, keep copying it out. We could have name Itamar. Let's get rid of this. Name Itamar. Jack. John. And I guess Jace. I'm not sure if that's how you spell Jace. So, and then when we just print this out, it will give us a nice list of the names. And essentially, the next part of this series, or of learning how to work with arrays, is going to be, well, how do we take this data that's here and how do we manipulate it? How do we put it on the screen? Tune in for my next video. It's going to be great. I'm going to have an exercise for you guys, and I wish you the best. Have a nice day.